Hey everyone, and welcome back. You ready to jump into another deep dive with me?
Always excited to explore new ideas and perspective. Let's do it.
Awesome. Today we're tackling a topic that I think is super relevant to everyone, wealth and power.
Definitely a topic that sparked a lot of conversation and debate.
And we're looking at it specifically through the lens of Black entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and activists.
That's a really interesting angle. I'm curious to see what insights we can gain from that perspective.
Me too. Our main source material is a YouTube video called Awakening to Wealth and Power. It's this really cool mix of voices and ideas, kind of like a documentary mixtape.
I like that analogy, a mixtape of wisdom and inspiration.
Exactly. And trust me, there's a lot to unpack here. We'll be exploring everything from generational wealth and power.
I've had that term a lot lately. What does it really mean in this context?
Well, it's about building a legacy of financial stability and influence that can be passed down through generations.
Ah, okay. So breaking those cycles of poverty and creating opportunities for future generations. Right. And we'll also be diving into the often overlooked connection between biblical principles and investing.
That's one I haven't heard before. Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, it is. Then we'll get into some practical strategies like financial agriculture and real estate investing.
Okay, so we're getting both the philosophical and the practical. I like it.
And of course, we can't talk about wealth and power without discussing mindset, self-image, and the importance of ownership.
It sounds like we're covering all the bases.
We're going to try to... One of the first things that really grabbed my attention was a quote by Dr. George C. Fraser.
Oh yeah, I heard of him.
Yeah.
He's a well-known advocate for Black economic empowerment.
Right. He said, "To be Black and beautiful means nothing in this world unless you are Black and powerful." What do you make of that?
It's a powerful statement, for sure. I think it speaks to the idea that true beauty and success are intertwined with having a voice and influence in the world.
And that can only come from having some degree of power, right?
Exactly. It's not just about individual achievement, but about collective empowerment, having a seat at the table.
I completely agree. And that ties into another point made in the video about the challenges facing Black communities in terms of wealth creation.
Like what specifically?
Well, it mentions that Black baby boomers might be the first generation to raise kids who are actually worse off than they were.
Oh, wow. That's a sobering thought.
It is. And Angel Rich, one of the speakers in the video, calls it hustling backward.
Hustling backward. What does she mean by that?
Basically, she's saying that sometimes we're working hard, but not necessarily working smart.
Ah, so it's about understanding the rules of the game, so to speak, and making sure you're playing strategically.
Exactly. And she stresses the importance of having those code keepers in our lives.
Code keepers.
Who are those?
People who have cracked the code to generational wealth and are willing to share their knowledge and experience.
Like mentors and guides who can help us navigate the system and avoid those common pitfalls.
Right. The people who've been there, done that, and can provide valuable insights and support. I love that analogy of a code keeper. It really highlights the importance of mentorship and learning from those who have come before us.
It does. And speaking of learning from those who came before us, the video also dives into some interesting biblical perspectives on wealth creation.
Oh, really? That's not something you hear every day.
I know, right? But Prophetess Nakia, another speaker in the video, points out that there are over 100 verses in the Bible that talk about wealth creation.
That's pretty surprising. I always thought the Bible was more focused on spiritual wealth.
Well, it is, but it also acknowledges the importance of having a solid material foundation.
Makes sense. I mean, you can't really focus on spiritual growth if you're constantly struggling to make ends meet, right?
Exactly. And one of the most interesting biblical references is the parable of the talents.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. The guy who buries his talent instead of investing it.
Yep. And the video points out something I had never considered before. One talent actually weighed 75 pounds.
75 pounds?
Yeah.
Wow. That puts things into perspective.
Yeah. Imagine trying to bury 75 pounds of anything just because you were afraid to take a risk.
It's a powerful visual, isn't it? It shows how much fear can paralyze us and prevent us from using our gifts and resources to their full potential.
It's a great reminder to not let fear hold us back from investing in ourselves and our dreams.
I'm with you on that. Sometimes the scariest thing is not taking any action at all.
So true. And speaking of investing, the video introduces this really cool concept called financial agriculture.
Financial agriculture. I've never heard of that. What is it?
It's an analogy used by Angel Rich to explain the importance of diversifying our financial and social portfolios.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Basically, she compares our finances and relationships to a garden.
A garden. Okay, I'm following.
And she says, just like you wouldn't plant all your carrots in one spot, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket financially or socially.
Makes sense. It's about spreading the risk and creating a more resilient ecosystem.
Precisely. It's about rotating crops, so to speak, to ensure that you have a variety of resources and connections to draw upon.
That's a great way to think about it. I like how she connects it to real-world examples.
It makes it much easier to grasp the concept. And it actually ties into some ancient wisdom, too.
Oh, really?
Reverend Luther Allen, another speaker in the video, quotes Ecclesiastes 11.2, which says, "Divide your investments among many places, for you do not know what risks might lie ahead."
Wow. That's pretty spot on. It's like that old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. It's timeless advice that applies to so many areas of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, sometimes it's easier said than done.
You're right. The video actually shares a cautionary tale about Donahue Baker and his production company.
Oh, yeah. What happened there?
They would put all their resources into one artist, and when things didn't go as planned, they were left scrambling.
Ouch. That's a tough lesson to learn.
It is. And it highlights the importance of having a plan B or even a plan C.
Always good to have backup options and not be overly reliant on any one thing.
Agreed. So diversification is key, both in terms of our finances and our relationships.
It's all about creating a balanced and resilient portfolio.
And it's not just about external factors either. Our mindset and self-image play a huge role in our ability to create wealth.
You're right. Our beliefs and attitudes can either empower us or hold us back.
Well, Angel Rich shares a really personal story in the video about how she used to feel inadequate financially, even with $4,000 in her bank account.
$4,000?
Yeah.
That's more than a lot of people have.
Yeah.
What made her feel inadequate?
She compares herself to others and starts to doubt her own abilities.
The comparison trap. It can be so destructive.
It really can. And she even went through self-image training to try to overcome those feelings.
Self-image training. That's interesting. What does that involve?
Basically, it's about changing your thoughts and beliefs about yourself to create a more positive and empowered self-image.
Sounds like a form of cognitive reframing I've heard that can be really effective.
It can be, and what really stuck with me from her story was what her mother told her.
What was that?
She said, "You will never have more than you believe is possible."
Wow. That's powerful. It speaks to the idea that our beliefs shape our reality.
Exactly. If we don't believe we're capable of achieving something, we're probably right.
And the opposite is true, too. If we believe in ourselves and our potential, we're much more likely to achieve our goals.
I love that. And the video actually connects this idea to a fascinating experiment called the glass box experiment.
The glass box experiment. I'm not familiar with that one. Tell me about it.
Basically, they put people in a room with a glass box and told them the walls were closing in.
Oh, wow. That sounds intense.
It was. And even though the walls weren't actually moving, people started to panic and act as if they were being crushed.
So their minds convinced them of something that wasn't real.
Exactly. It just shows how powerful our beliefs can be, even when they're based on false perceptions.
That's both fascinating and a little bit scary.
It is. But it's also empowering because it means we have the ability to change our beliefs and therefore change our reality.
I like that. It's about taking control of our thoughts and choosing to focus on beliefs that serve us.
And on that note, let's talk about another powerful message from Dr. George C. Fraser.
Okay, I'm all ears.
He says, you cannot consume yourself into equality, and you cannot consume yourself into power.
That's a really thought-provoking statement.
Mm.
It seems to be challenging the consumerist culture that often tells us that happiness and success come from buying more stuff.
It definitely is. It's about recognizing that true power and equality come from creating, building, and contributing, not just consuming.
It's a shift from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance.
Exactly. And it ties into the key to creating wealth, according to the video.
And what's that?
Selling.
Selling. Interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that.
They even use a hilarious example of selling manure.
Manure.
Yeah, it goes to show that anything can be a product or service as long as there's a need for it.
So it's about finding creative ways to add value, meet a need, and generate income.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's all about that entrepreneurial spirit, seeing opportunities where others see obstacles.
I like that. It's about thinking outside the box and being resourceful.
Yeah. And the video actually gets really practical and breaks down a step-by-step strategy for real estate investing.
Oh, cool. I'm always interested in learning more about real estate.
It's a great section. They explain key terms like ARV, HML, and CMA in a way that's easy to understand.
Those are some of the industry acronyms, right?
Yep. And they emphasize the importance of using other people's money, OPM, through creative financing strategies.
Using OPM, that's a smart move, especially when you're just starting out.
It is. And they walk you through the entire process, from finding a property to securing funding, renovating, and refinancing.
Sounds like a mini masterclass in real estate investing.
It really is. And it all comes back to that powerful message from Master P.
Master P,
Yeah.
the rapper and entrepreneur.
The one and only. He said, "Broke people think that you need money to be successful. Rich people know that you need ideas."
I love that quote. It's so true. It's about having vision, creativity, and the willingness to take action.
And it's about understanding that success is often a team sport.
You mean collaboration and leveraging the strengths of others?
Exactly. William Randolph, another speaker in the video, made an interesting observation about Jeff Bezos only owning 10% of Amazon.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is. And it highlights the power of sharing ownership and bringing others along for the ride.
It's about creating a win-win situation where everyone benefits from the collective success.
And it all circles back to Dr. George C. Frazier's message about the world not waiting for Black people to wake up to their power.
It's a call to action, to recognize and reject the internalized oppression that can hold us back.
It's about taking ownership of our lives, our destinies, and creating the future we want to see.
It's a powerful message of empowerment and possibility.
This deep dive has been so eye-opening already, and we've only just scratched the surface.
I know, right? There's so much more to explore.
Well, then let's jump into the next part of our deep dive.
You know, we talk about this idea of flipping the script, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me think about how important it is to be prepared.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like that saying, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
You can have all the right ideas and strategies, but if you're not ready to seize the moment when it arrives, it might just pass you by.
Totally. It's like that feeling when you're not quite ready for a test, even though you know the material.
I've been there.
Yeah.
It's not a good feeling.
Not at all. So what do you think it really means to be prepared in this context? Not just financially, but like mentally and emotionally.
That's a great question. I think it's about cultivating a mindset of readiness,
Mm-hmm.
being open to possibilities, and willing to step outside of your comfort zone.
Okay, I like that. Stepping outside of that comfort zone is key, right? It can be scary, though.
Oh, absolutely. It takes courage to challenge ourselves and embrace the unknown.
For sure. And sometimes we might even stumble or fail along the way.
That's inevitable. But the thing is, failure is often just a stepping stone to success.
I love that perspective. It's
Right.
not about avoiding failure, but about learning from it and using it as fuel to keep going.
Exactly. It's about developing that resilience and that grit that helps us bounce back from setbacks stronger than before.
And that's where the power of community comes in, right? Having people around us who support us and encourage us.
100% community can be such a lifeline, especially when we're facing challenges.
It's like having a cheerleading squad and a support group all rolled into one.
I love that analogy. And it ties into the concept of generational wealth, too. It's not just about individual success, but about creating a legacy that benefits the entire community.
Right. It's about lifting each other up and sharing resources and knowledge.
Exactly. It's about creating a ripple effect of positive change that extends far beyond ourselves.
So powerful. And it all starts with taking action, right? We can't just sit around and wait for things to happen. We have to be proactive and make things happen.
Absolutely. It's about having that agency and that ownership over our lives and our destinies.
The video keeps talking about this idea of flipping the script. What do you think that looks like in a practical sense?
I think it starts with identifying the limiting beliefs that are holding us back. You know, the stories we tell ourselves that keep us small and stuck.
Oh yeah, those negative self-talk tapes that can play on repeat in our heads.
Those are the ones we have to challenge those beliefs and replace them with empowering ones that support our growth and our vision.
It's like rewriting the narrative of our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's about taking aligned action, steps that move us closer to our goals, even if they're small steps.
One step at a time, right? It's
Yeah.
about consistency and perseverance.
Exactly. And remembering that we're not alone in this journey. We have each other. We have our communities. And we have a rich legacy of resilience and achievement to draw upon.
I love that. That's such an inspiring message. We're all in this together, and we have the power to create the future we want to see.
Absolutely. So let's keep the momentum going and dive into the final part of our deep dive.
It's so interesting, right? That we've been talking about this intersection of opportunity and preparation.
Yeah, it's like
Wow.
that moment when everything aligns.
And you're ready to seize it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not just about being in the right place at the right time.
Right. It's about being in the right mindset, too.
Exactly. Being open to possibilities and willing to take a leap of faith.
Even if it's scary.
Mm.
Even if you don't have all the answers.
Because sometimes the greatest opportunities come disguised as challenges.
Or even failures. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. I think back on my own journey, and some of the biggest breakthroughs came after setbacks.
Mm. Tell me more about that.
Well, there were times when I thought I had it all figured out.
Like you had the perfect plan.
Yeah, but then things would fall apart, and I'd be forced to reevaluate.
And what happened?
It was tough at first. But looking back, those moments were actually blessings in disguise.
Because they forced you to grow.
Exactly. They pushed me outside of my comfort zone and helped me develop resilience.
And that resilience is what allowed you to ultimately succeed.
I believe so. It's like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
So true. And sometimes those failures can lead to even greater opportunities than we could have imagined.
Absolutely. It's all about how we choose to perceive and respond to those challenges.
It's about having that growth mindset, you know,
Exactly. Being open to learning and evolving and embracing the journey.
and having the right people around us to support us along the way.
Oh, yeah. That's huge. Having mentors and a strong community can make all the difference.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders and advisors all rolled into one.
I love that analogy. And it ties back to that idea of generational wealth, too.
How so?
Well, it's not just about individual success. It's about creating a legacy that benefits future generations.
Right. It's about leaving the world a better place than we found it.
Exactly. It's about empowering those who come after us and providing them with the tools and resources to thrive.
So inspiring. And it all starts with taking action right here, right now.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing the power we have to shape our own destinies and create the future we want to see.
And not being afraid to flip the script on those limiting beliefs and those outdated narratives that hold us back.
It's time to write our own stories. Stories of abundance, purpose, and fulfillment.
Stories that inspire and uplift and empower others to do the same. Because we all have the potential to create something extraordinary.
And to leave a lasting legacy that makes a real difference in the world.
So go out there and make it happen.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been an incredible journey.
The pleasure was all mine.